You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
And welcome to Maximum Driftcast. I'm Corey Hosford, and I'm Sam Nalv. Oh, what do you call?
Brody isn't here in the whole show.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, what a perfect intro to the show.
I don't know what's going on, but we are live and we are back.
Oh man, that's exactly how we planned that intro, and I'm just so happy it went off without a hitch.
No, I mean as usual. It's just this is how we make it's how you call it, scripted drama.
Look, you can't make butter without breaking a couple of breads.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah, this is showbiz, baby.
Now I know.
Now you know, motherfucker.
Now I know.
Anyways,
welcome to Maximum Driftcast.
Welcome to you to Maximum Driftcast.
Oh yeah, my name is El Cordy Hosfor.
LL Corey J.
See.
Yeah, Corey is not here today because he ripped his pants open.
He does that all the time. It's kind of like an exercise that he's trying to do.
But this is a big one today. He was in front of a live audience. He was trying to do the splits, and he ripped his pants wide open down the middle. A lot of people have been trying to sew it back up, but it's just not going for him. So he's working on his pants. He won't be here tonight. It's also Kaylee, his girlfriend's birthday. Happy birthday, Kaylee.
Happy birthday, Kaylee.
All night trying to fix his pants, but if he does, then so sorry. Hopefully you can celebrate your birthday later on.
As we say in Mexico, Feliz Navidad.
Happy New Year's?
Hanukkah. See.
The Mexico, the land of the Jews.
That's what Mexico means, like the actual translation.
Yeah. CCC.
See.
I heard a lot of good feedback from last week's show. Forsberg, I think, was telling me that he really liked when we did our very real life scenario of what it's like to communicate with sponsors, and how you were the president of To Have Performance, and when you got the phone call, your office had your tuba music playing. What do you call that style of Mexican music?
Banda.
Yeah. So I got a lot of good feedback on that, and a lot of people said that they liked my managing style, Dylan. And if there's any other people out there,
you're very sharp, very strong,
sharp
firm.
as a tack.
Yeah,
strong like bull.
Firm and sharp like cheddar.
Firm on the sponsors. And that's what's really important. You want to not let your sponsors get an inch. You give them an inch, they try to take a mile. So that's why Dylan Hughes and I say no sponsors for us, jerks.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Forsberg did that a while ago?
Yep.
So that's
fired
like
them all. He was tired of their money, and then that's when he had that sweet black livery.
It's back in black.
And then he won a championship, and then he got all his sponsors back, and there's only one since then.
In retrospective, that's pretty badass.
Yep.
I was like, all right, I have no title sponsor. Now watch me win.
And that's what made it awesome.
Yep, that's pretty good.
Did you do anything cool this week? Any updates on your 15 cars?
Yeah, actually. But this one, I mean, it's kind of like it's a temporary vehicle. This one is
so you bought another car just to be safe?
I bought another car, exactly. Just want to make sure that January wasn't, gone before buying a car.
Yeah, start the year right.
Exactly, start the year right. And I went and got myself a 1970 Lincoln Mark III Continental Coupe. Why? With a 460 V8.
Why?
Mostly because Brian wanted one.
Because Brian wanted one. So
I got
Brian's car. Or is it your car?
I got to the point where I'm just like buying cars for people.
He's becoming a bad influence.
Wait, but it's not your car, Brian. He just bought it.
Well, because I was wanting a Mark III, but I've obviously got other cars to focus on. So he just went ahead and picked it up and just says I could buy it off of him when I'm ready.
I like how you had the sanity to say, you know what, I don't need any more cars, But Paco, not so much.
Yeah, now I'm loving tinkering around with this. My first time working on like a big block, and I'm really starting to look up a bunch of stuff on it, so you can see the rabbit hole what's going.
Well, I like to look at rabbit's holes. And speaking of holes, I had this segue. I don't have what I was going to mention next. That's it.
90s movies.
Yeah, it's like, is that the Shia LaBeouf holes?
Yep.
As you remember, Sam, I think the audience is still waiting on your review of Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, I watched it over the holidays.
So we got reminded, and the comments like, "Hey, we are pissed. We haven't heard the review." And I mean, because obviously this is Maximum Movie Cast, and that's all we do.
Yeah,
about the
I
movies.
mean, I would say, if I could summarize the movie in so many words, I would say Bernie, Weekend, at the end.
Mhm.
No,
And the
it's
Oscar
a
goes
beautiful
to-
comedy of the ages. It involves fun, tropical adventures, moidal.
I mean, if
Drugs,
you think
sex.
about it, like it can nothing can go wrong when you have two guys
Mhm.
doing a thing together,
Mhm.
and that thing it's
Happens to be carrying around a dead body for the weekend.
pretty much. But also, I'm trying to extend this bit as much as possible because
Yeah, really extended because we're gonna shut down the show in a minute here after this podcast. Might as well after this movie review. So
movie
really just
reviews
get
with
out all the words that you have.
Oh, looks like Bernie just joined in from Weekend at Bernie's.
What's up, guys?
Oh, that's not
Who-
Bernie.
Who is no? That's Bernie Sanders.
I thought it was a Colonel Sanders. What the hell?
I got
No,
some
you're right.
you, Sam, already. I'm
Oh,
28, so I'm just a couple of years behind you, I think.
Hey
but
man, old enough to party.
I'm on my way.
Old enough to party. That's what I always say.
That's right. Well on our way.
Whoever this is, you live in a beautiful glass box overlooking the city.
It's a really small little glass box that doesn't allow me to work on any race cars.
Okay, so I'm trying to identify the accents. You said box.
Yeah.
So you're from Poughkeepsie.
Close. Has some of those letters.
Denver.
No, I'm from Vancouver, Canada. So
Ooh.
Wait.
West Coast.
Another
Nope,
Canadian.
We're here.
And who?
West Coast.
Who might we have the pleasure of speaking to?
This is Brody Goble.
Brody.
Hey, there you go. I was like, who's this fine-looking gentleman they have on screen? And I'm not talking about Sam.
Hey, come on, guys. I don't need none of that. Don't
Rough.
butter me up. Don't butter me up. You already have me.
Already starting that way, eh? Jesus.
Brody, you're in Vancouver right now, eh?
Hey?
That's right.
How fucking cold is it right now?
West Coast, we're good. We're plus.
Really?
I'm gonna talk to you in Celsius, so we're probably like 7 degrees right now Celsius.
I don't speak those words. Oh,
Yeah.
so you're not
That
you're not
would-
in the danger zone with.
Low 40s, mid
And
40s.
the minus 40s.
Yeah, you're not in the danger zone. Like my buddies in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the Snap-on boys. It's like negative 25 there today. It is insane.
brutal. Yeah. No, we try to keep the snow in the mountains over here, so we rarely see snow in the city.
Oh,
So
looks like
you're like a West Coast cool guy Canadian. Whereas where does Riley Sexsmith live again?
Canada.
Like Ontario, so that's probably like 40+ hour drive from here.
And guys,
Yeah, so he's one of those like podunk East Coast Canadians.
Before-
Like he's like the Ohio of Canada, and you're like the California of Canada.
Yeah.
before
Yeah,
you
we'll
guys
take
keep
that. I'll take
nerding,
that.
before you guys keep nerding out on the weather, it looks like a new contender just joined in.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
boy,
Who is this?
the one and only.
Oh,
He's very close to the camera, and I like that. Let me see those teeth. Yeah. All right. So as you all know, whenever you go into Pro One drifting, they gotta do a mouth inspection. So looks like you guys are looking good. All right, you made it.
Pro 1, we're going in. Is that
Are
right?
you?
Are we?
Who's going in?
I don't know. I guess you said we are.
first,
I suppose we're getting this out of the way early.
All right, it's decided. No, is that an announcement? I don't know. I just assumed
Yeah.
that men of your talent and stature might be interested in joining up to the numero unos.
Well, Brody's my drift dad, so we'll go with his talent and stature.
I got the gray hair, so I'm nominated. Yes, though.
How many grades do you got?
A couple short of you, but not many short of you.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We actually have an ongoing joke about all the dad vehicles he drives. He can't drive a normal vehicle. It has to be dad certified.
No.
So you have like a Subaru Outback, or what's up?
Well, my family actually, we have a car dealership up here in Canada, so I get the privilege of taking different vehicles from the car lot all the time. So I work at the dealership as well. I'm a sales manager there.
Nice.
But I'm always grabbing just like, I don't know, it bugs Brandon, but right now I'm grabbing like a nice little diesel SUV, Mercedes SUV, and
Sick.
big fan of the wagons, the Audi wagons. Paco could probably relate. I like the dad.
I'll give me all the wagons. But before,
have we introduced our?
Yeah, I was gonna say before we keep going and nerding out and weather and wagons and multiple vehicles and Canadians and
premature announcements.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, after we rudely got interrupted by the other very good-looking gentleman that just joined the call, so we have. Let me see if I can get this shit straight.
When he called in, it looked like a cardboard cutout of Paul Walker's face. But to be clear, for those that are confused, it's not Paul Walker.
It's not, definitely not.
It's the ghost of Paul Walker. Welcome.
So, okay, I guess we have Mr. Brody Goble next to you, Sam.
Oh, thank you.
And under you, like this is like it's like the
Hollywood Squares.
There you yeah, or like the
Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch squares, you know, like. And under Sam, we have a gentleman. Can you introduce yourself, please?
The 2F performance driver, Brandon Schmidt.
Oh,
ooh, look at that! Look at that! he's probably a little angry at me because we got him a pretty high shipping quote for some reason.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, dude, me too. I need to figure that out. But
Paco, you make your sponsored drivers pay shipping? What's wrong with you, dude?
Well, I believe Brandon lives in a very remote area of the state of Washington. And I think the delivery people needs to walk like 6 miles on the snow with a box by them in their backs. So they're charging a little bit of like fuel surcharge or something like that. So, but we'll get that sorted out.
You think they know I'm an international shipping hub for Brody Goble Motorsports, myself, everything.
Sorry.
Wow.
He is my shipping like outlet right there. Because I'm in Canada, right? So you can't really ship anything in Canada because it's like no-go zone. So everything, I just ship it right to Brandon's place. So great for me. It kind of sucks for his living room probably, but yeah.
Living room is every day of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
So why do we receive the extreme pleasure of both of you young gentlemen at the same time? That sounded weird. Why are you guys here?
Well, Brand and I are looking at making a little Pro 1 debut this year in Formula D. So,
woo!
Whoa!
Pro 1 debut, first time announcing on the show.
Exactly. Lots of build up to that one.
Yep.
I've spent 3 years in Pro 2 now. Brandon spent 2 years in it. And it's one of those things where I feel like we just got to keep pushing ourselves to get to that next level. I'm not saying we're there yet, but it's one of those things that I don't think we'll ever be there unless we try it. So I think put yourself in the deep end will definitely make you improve a lot quicker. So that's kind of our thinking, and we're going to throw it and see what happens, see what sticks.
I mean, all you have to do is be better than Dylan Hughes, and his car might not even show up and work. So that doesn't feel good to say. What's that was a joke, Dylan. Dylan, you understand? I love you.
Yeah, I mean you're the manager for Dylan, so I'm putting this one on you, Sam.
Yeah, that is true. Shit, I guess it is kind of at the end of the day my fault, but that's
somebody
true.
was watching the last episode.
Yeah, shit. Well, you guys, I might be fired from Dylan's team soon. If you're looking for a manager to get rid of all your sponsors, Paco, you're out.
I'm out.
No more free body kits for these boys. We don't need them.
Yeah.
Nobody wants free shit, anyways. I mean, that's how you win. Ask Forsberg.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a bunch of guys and making that step up this year, I think. So yeah. I think Goche's going, Riley's going, Dylan's going, Brandon and I are going. Who else am I missing? Is there anyone else that you know from Pro 2? In the Camaro.
Randall Waters.
He's going.
Yeah, Mass Motorsports boy.
Yeah.
I can't even keep track. I think there might be. I've heard tell of a couple of petition ins from other places, but we'll see if that occurs.
I've heard of Ole Jaeger jumping too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited. We might actually see a pro with very few Byrons, which will be pretty cool. Not that I didn't like Byron and the times that he was strikingly cunning and nearly taking out the drivers that were going up against him, but to have a top 32 that's fully stacked again would be pretty sweet.
I think Byron puts down more pressure on anyone.
It does. You got to go hard. You got to not mess up. And most people do really well, but
Hey,
sometimes...
he's the most consistent driver in FD.
He is, but he loses pretty much every time. Consistently loses, but when he shows up and takes the battle, it's always a fun show. So what?
So, yeah, like the question is like, why you both together? What are you guys doing together? What's going on?
Is it going to be two men, one car?
Ooh.
We already do
It's
that.
a thing already, yeah. So we have a practice car actually up at Evergreen Speedway. So Brian and I've been keeping it down in Washington, and we show up to Evergreen like all winter long here at the practice days, and we're two men, one car. So I'm either in the passenger seat or the driver's seat, and we keep swapping out, and it's a big joke up there. So it's all over that one too. So we'll be chimed in about that, but it works out.
So are you planning on driving two cars in FD or just one this year?
Yeah, no, our FD cars are definitely returning. So Brian and I teamed up, started 2017, and I have a 2-car trailer, so made sense him in the Pacific Northwest to kind of split all up and kind of keep the costs down and do the 2-car team and share a little bit of the spares, and even some of our partners and stuff are shared between the team. So makes a lot of sense that way. Definitely makes it easier for both of us. I have a little bit more freedom with work, so I typically will drive the rig down to the event, and my dad will actually help out, and he'll drive one way too. So
nice.
Yeah, so it kind of keeps it easy, and then Brandon can fly in and fly out, and everything's there. And literally his place is right on my way. It's about 3 hours south of me, but it's always right in the way, basically just off I-5. So super straightforward.
It seems like we've seen a lot of success from combination teams, Forsberg and Turk, and Dean and Peter, and Chelsea and Vaughn, to name a few. But sharing partnerships between sponsors and all that, you can have one film crew deliver multiple assets and share spares if you have similar cars, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I think that you're definitely in the right spot there. What's your history together? Are you...
In what way?
Yeah, what's your relationship status on Facebook?
Complicated.
But not to Brandon.
It's complicated.
So that's a little bit of a soft spot there.
I take up his weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second wife. How did you guys meet? How did you guys come to be this drifting duo?
Well, I stepped into my first Pro 2 year in 2017. Had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And I was only thinking of how I'm going to get there and things like that. And then I thought of Brody, and I met Brody a couple times at the racetrack and things like that. And funny enough, right as I was thinking about it, he hit me up and, kind of proposed maybe we could do it together and, keep the cost down for each other. So there we were in Orlando 2017. I'd driven my car 2 times. He'd driven his maybe a quarter of one time.
Yeah.
And we both went there, had a little bit of a disaster of maybe hitting people and things, but Austin Meeks, that's for you. And we both did well, and everything was just like an instant fit right off the bat. I mean, it was mesh, great friendship. Everybody got along, both sides, crew, family, everybody. And it was like, wow, well, that couldn't really gone any better. And since then, it's just been like, why would we do FD any other way?
Right. And you said you spent 3 years, and then Brody, how many years in Pro 2 have you spent?
I spent 3 years. Brian spent 2. So my first year was 2015. We had a little S13. Actually got a Pro 1 license in 2015, our first year in the series. And then it was one of those things where I wanted to go to Pro 1 right away, and I decided it was going to take more horsepower than we had. So we had like mid-500s, naturally aspirated S13. Pretty straightforward build, really simple and reliable. Car's awesome, but it was to kind of take that car to the next level. It was almost a shame to kind of redo everything. We wanted to do a supercharged setup, and to put the radiator in the back of that car and put an intercooler up front. It was one of those things that was going to kind of go so far backwards, it made more sense actually to sell that car and build another one. So I spent the entire 20 year off. Spent that new car for one.
Hold on, I think Brandon may have put the phone in his mouth.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was moving sides. I got more light on this side.
There you go.
Yeah,
Right.
so it was one of those things that we built the car for Pro 1 originally. My current car that I've been running in Pro 2 actually in 2017 and 2018. And yeah, it was kind of, we wanted to use the year after building the car to actually test the car in Pro 2 and just keep getting more and more seat time. So we actually ended up running 2 years after meeting Brandon. We wanted to run Pro 2 again in 2018. So yeah, it was one of those things. So getting the car all ready and everything sorted, kind of like it is overkill for Pro 2, absolutely, and we don't need that much power. But at the same time, it's one of those cars that's like fully developed now, and I know exactly what the car is, and it's ready for Pro 1. So it's not jumping into a brand new, completely different car for Pro 1 in 2019, which is nice.
Are these cars on your Instagram? And can we pull it up
Yeah.
there, Big B?
Yeah. Yeah, the S13, it's red and teal as well. We kind of always kept that same look on the cars. But yeah, actually the post that Paco made today for the Maximum Driftcast with me standing beside the car, that's actually the original S13 at Irwindale in 2015. So
Nice.
yeah.
That kind of adds another level to our team aspect, as we both showed up in 2017 and drive our first year together, and we actually had the same exact color scheme car with red and teal and black.
Was that accidental or was it
It was
planned? Or
Purely accidental.
nice. Yeah, I'm checking it out now. I can't believe, Paco, did you make this
Yep.
post that just said today's guest is Brody Goble? Nothing about our other boy here? Come on, man.
Oh, I didn't have confirmation of Brandon until a few minutes after the call. Let me tell you something about Brandon.
you tell me something about Brandon right now.
He's a very busy man who works a very, very special place. He's got a very important job. He's probably right now.
Wait, does he work at Taco Bell?
How do you know it?
He figured it out. He figured it out.
Good
That's the
time.
most. You said he worked at a special place, and that's probably the most special place I can think of. So,
But no, I mean, actually, better than Taco Bell.
but, come on, man.
I don't know about that.
Well,
Where do you?
can you tell us real quick where you work at, Brandon, and how much time free they gave you just to join our Silicol?
Oh man, I'm on my lunch break at Boeing right now.
Oh shit! All right, that's maybe more important. All right, so do you have a limited, finite time window here?
We can push it a little bit. We're all right.
How much
I'm
time
not
do you
worried
have? Because we're gonna dish this other goof for like 30 minutes if that's all you got.
No, we're good. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, then let's move right into. We got a first super chat question of the night. FJM9898, and super chat is on YouTube. If you're watching the show live on YouTube, you can answer or ask questions to us and the boys or whoever's on the show. We have girls on the show too. Sometimes, guys, don't worry about it. FJM9898 did ask, however,
Oh,
who wears the pants? And I think he's referring to the team pants and who's wearing them right now. So obviously, you guys share one car on the off season. You also share one pair of pants. And as we can't really see pants in the photo or the video feed right now, I guess FJM, who is just asking who's wearing the team pants at the moment.
I mean, people.
Well,
I got joggers on right now, so they don't really count. So it might be Brandon. Might be
I
away.
don't know. Brody drives the truck. That's tough.
Yeah, there you go.
And you know what? I think for the dad vehicle purposes, I'm gonna give it to Brody.
Who's wearing the physical pants though that the team shares?
I thought
Sorry?
Boeing was a pants-free environment.
Yeah,
I
they make everyone straight up Donald Duck around
They
there.
also won't let you wear Crocs, so I know Corey's upset somewhere.
That's a bummer for him. He's just been buttering up his Crocs all day.
Yeah, for his fancy date night.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Paco, you heard right. It's actually been really controversial in the news lately. Is a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, I don't want a straight up Porky Pig in this place working at Boeing," but they're like, "Hey, shirt cock, no, or else." All right, guys. I want a draft going on down there. I want your top and your man nipples covered. Don't be gross. We just saw some cars up there, some sick ass S13s. I like that you guys had pretty successful Pro 2 runs in S13s, and you're like, you know what? Let's not change this to a radical new platform. Let's just make our S13s run.
Brody's has a special name. his new car anyway, the S13 3 and 3/4s. You want to call it? I don't know what you want to call it.
S14 and S14.75. So some people say S14 and 3/4, but it's as close to the S15 as you can come now. I think Paco might be trying to do something to copy us, but
well, bro,
we're the first to market with the S15 rear clip. So
yeah, because I mean the only difference is pretty much that window line, the rear quarter window line, right?
That's the biggest thing. I've thought about actually making like a little bit of a decal or something, like a graphic to kind of make it look a little bit more an S15 in that rear quarter window, but it's just a thought right now. So wait,
do you have Paco, I guess you can answer this as well. Are they S15 taillights and all that shit as well?
Yep. S15 trunk, S15 wing, S15 rear bumper, S15 taillights.
So for those who don't know what are we talking about here, Brody manufactures. I mean, I don't know if he manufactures them himself, but he makes these S15 conversion. What would be like over fenders, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So we were actually talking. What was that?
So he's the competition, Paco?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're like, okay, I see your product. I got a very close glimpse of his car at I think it was Texas.
Paco, looking at the Instagram photos, it looks like he doesn't make any bumpers or his just fall off. So you're not worried there. He's only got a tiny quarter bumper hanging on there, barely.
Yeah, totally. I've lost it a couple hundred times too. So that's actually an OEM bumper. It's just cut just because the bottom was with the exhaust and stuff. It actually starts melting. So it's I guess they're like a urethane. Paco probably knows best, but like the OEM material, it's just kind of like a plastic that ends up drooping and looking nasty. So the OEM one half cut can take a hit and just keep repainting it.
Yeah, some people really, really, really give us a lot of shit for those.
What, the half bumpers?
People want the full bumper on the car, but
yeah, especially this company that makes body kits. I think they're called 2F Performance.
Here we go.
They would appreciate full bumpers in the rear.
We're a full bumper family over here.
Yeah.
You know what? Free rear bumper, free shipping.
There you go.
Yeah.
No questions asked. But yeah, I mean, like, so back to.
I also like real quick on the bumper. Not only did you cut off the entire bottom 2/3 of it, but you're like, that's not enough. I'm gonna drill speed holes.
Speed holes all over it.
1/3.
Just because, right? Just to really piss people off. So.
Well, you don't want to lose a performance of the speed hole opportunity brings you to the program.
Yeah.
It's free horsepower.
Yeah.
Pretty
free
much.
horsepower.
Free horsepower. That's what it is. I mean, it's the most kept secret. Like even Summit doesn't even sell that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Tommy from Frankenstein Speed and Custom, he's the one that builds the car. I mean, I help him too, but I can't take all the fabrication credit. But he's a big fan of speed holes and dimple dyes, and he's an unreal fabricator, unreal TIG welder and stuff. So, yeah, if you look at even the front windshield, there's speed holes that I have a Lexan windshield, and all down the center of it has a support bar that has speed holes all drilled the entire thing too. So
a support bar with speed holes. It sounds like a very supportive bar.
Yeah.
Actually, we have Dustin Miles in the Facebook chat. I think he's having a brain seizure talking about speed holes.
Oh, look at those speed holes down that bar. All right.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed that Canadian gold leaf on the car.
That's pretty cool. It reminds me of George Marstanovich's car from back in the day a little bit. He had a bunch of maple leaves on it, didn't he?
Yep.
His FC.
Oh, yeah. It was a gray and pink.
It's like a teal blue, I think, with a bunch of greenish foil leaves on it. It was one of the prettiest liveries. I love that. I loved that car.
It was very classic, very classy looking. So, what got into your minds to say, you know what? Let's just go to Pro One. We have a lot of money to spare.
I don't know about that part.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. No.
Oh man, what did do that?
Just time to. You needed a bigger challenge, and you guys are like, all right, need to move.
Well, when they dropped the schedule Pro 2 and where those events were for somebody up in the Pacific Northwest, it was daunting to say the least. So They basically took our closest event last year of Irwindale and replaced it with Florida, which is the absolute furthest event. So,
yep, that's a bummer for you guys for sure, and a bummer for a lot of people because I, for one, really loved the Pro 2 aspect at Irwindale.
Yeah.
Not so much anything that has to do with Orlando, but
I think the big thing for us too is the schedule, and then Brody spending 3 years in Pro 2 and myself spending 2 was like, okay, how long are we going to stay in Pro 2 for? Or are we going to go have a crack at, maybe trying our hand and seeing how we can do, and there's always more Pro 2 guys coming up. I think there's, a slated field of, upper 40 number of people coming in to drive Pro 2 into a top 16. So, and there's a lot of talent and a lot of people we haven't seen before, and, they could come be really, really great drivers. So it's like, wow, at what point do we make the step and just go for it? You know what I mean? I mean, now or never, kind of.
Now, just looking at the standings, Brandon, why did you only run Irwindale last year? Why didn't you run a full year? Or you did?
Yeah, last year was a rough year. Actually, our first year was definitely a better year than.
Yeah. Well, did you run those events or did you not qualify?
Oh, we were there. So we got to Atlanta, and we drove. We had a little bit of gearbox issues towards the end of qualifying. It started to rain a little bit. We went, and I tried to go total typical Brandon and put down the 100-point backwards entry down the hill.
Fuck yeah. Don't even go for a secure 90-pointer.
No, don't secure it. Go all or nothing. That's kind of my styles. I like to roll the dice, and I rolled the dice and lost in Atlanta. I actually missed qualifying by 1 point, so that was pretty disappointing.
You pulled a Corey Hosford?
I pulled the boss. I did.
Qualified 17th.
And then we got into St. Louis. I thought we actually had a really, really good chance of qualifying pretty high there. We heard spotters talking to the judges. We were pretty happy with how things were going. And as we got in there, we actually had a power steering failure coming into the pits, leaving practice right before qualifying. We ran a run without power steering. That didn't go well for me and my lanky chicken arms. So that one was a bag. And then we went into the second run, and the power steering fluid had dripped all over the clutch. So we got the power steering fixed, and then the clutch wouldn't go. So it was a pretty big wash. Then I didn't attend Texas. We had a pretty bad year. We figured we'd wrap everything up and hit Irwindale hard, and we finished Irwindale in 6th place. So it wasn't the greatest year last year, but some mechanical issues and some bugs that we weren't really expecting. So we kind of threw that one out and went back to the first year, which was a significantly better year.
Yeah. And man, it's going to be a battle in Pro 1, of course, if you can't get those reliability issues fixed. What's your plan for making the car run every event? I mean, that's always the biggest challenge for almost everyone. That's a challenge for every single person, of course, but especially someone just coming up from the ranks of Pro 2 and on a budget, no doubt.
Yeah, so I like to call we run one of the more wild, naturally aspirated V8 setups next to my big partner there, Chris Stops, with Mass Motorsports 466, so it's a 7.6 liter V8, and that thing has been absolutely amazing. And we've never had a giant, gearbox failure, never had a giant engine failure, axle, or anything like that. It's been really small gremlins, like I said, the power steering, and then that falling onto the clutch and things like that. So I think we have most of the big mechanical problems pretty well wrapped up and taken care of over the last few years. So we're just trying to make sure now we double check everything, get some good testing in here before Long Beach, and make it so that all the little mechanical gremlins are, really taken care of that we didn't have the time to do last year.
Yeah. And then Brody, you looks like I was just looking at your 2018 standings. If you would have done well in Atlanta, like you would have definitely been in the contention for much higher standing. What went down in Atlanta?
Yeah, so if you rewind all the way back to Texas, last event in 2017, we actually lost a motor right before qualifying. So
Texas was the final event of
final round, 2017. So lost a motor there, dropped a valve, did a whole bunch of damage. Spent the entire off season actually moving over to Mass Motorsports and doing different cylinder heads with the car and solving that issue. But the funny thing was that the engine builder up here had some issues with doing some things. Anyways, we didn't get to actually go test the car at all. And showing up basically to Atlanta had a bunch of little things. The oil was actually overfilled in the dry sump system. it went everywhere, and then it was leaking out of the frame rail. So I missed like basically all the practice, and like I kept getting turned around like, oh no, it's not leaking oil, but it's just actually coming out from frame rail under the car, and then it caught on fire at one point too. So that was pretty cool. But I was able to get that out. And yeah, so we actually, I think Brandon qualified 17th. I think I qualified 18th or 19th, and I was 2 points out in Atlanta. So it was frustrating because the year before we actually finished third in Atlanta. So came into it thinking it was my best track and all that stuff, and then got a big 0. So just being not prepared and not having everything done in time. Had all the intentions on trying to get it done, but that's kind of one of those things where it's frustrating when you can't do the work on like the motor work stuff, and it's left in somebody else's hands, and it just doesn't get done on the deadlines and stuff. So it wasn't Mass Motorsports' fault. It was another engine shop up here in Canada, but it's a little bit tricky sometimes being in Canada and just not being able to send your motor easily across the border as some of the people in the U.S. And having to kind of like rely on the local sources to try to get things done quickly. Yeah, so it was a bummer for sure. But then after that, I think we came 4th in St. Louis and then 5th in the last 2 events too. So definitely like felt like the potential was there and stuff. Even if we had, I mean, it's stupid to even talk about like the ifs or couldas, but it was even after getting the 0 points in Atlanta, it still felt like we're on contention to get really well in Irwindale to at least finish in the top 3 in the season championship, which is pretty decent considering it's a 4-race season for us and you get 0 and 1. So overall it was trending in the right direction. So gaining momentum, I felt. Made some stupid mistakes behind the wheel myself too. So Texas, for instance.
Ooh, that was a good one. I think
good for the social media at least, right? So
was Texas the reason why the car looked completely different for the next season?
For the next race for Irwindale. So basically, I had to do all new bodywork on it. The crazy part was that nothing was actually really destroyed. So
drove it back, right? Like,
oh man, I just saw that photo. You guys, it's insane.
Yeah, if you look like right above Gautier's car, there's a little piece of red straight up above it. That's actually the trunk, like the deck we're getting.
Oh boy!
If I can beat
stands, it just went past the stands, but that thing went like 100 feet plus past the car. So
and that's
that. Be so rude and interrupt. He still has that trunk on the car from. And he's run it into so many walls. It's gone flying, and that thing still looks perfectly fine. I don't know why.
It's a carbon trunk, so I don't know if thing's magic, but I even lost it again. I hit in the big bank in Irwindale. It blew off in qualifying, so it's securely fastened and everything, but it's just breaking off like the aero catch, basically the latches that hold it down. So I'm an idiot.
Hopefully you find a way to secure that thing better this coming year, because if anything, Pro 1 should just be a little easier on the cars. It's usually not. What's your plan for Long Beach? Have you done like a ghost setup like in a parking lot, trying to do like the exact Long Beach layout and like practice it? I'm not even joking. I mean, that's something that I would do if I was going into it.
Like Walmart Supercenter, we just plan to go do that. So it should be good.
Yeah. We're gonna bounce off the RVs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. That's true underground street racer style, man. I mean, I was thinking about it as I often think about drifting while laying in bed trying to sleep at night. I was like, what would I do if I was going to Long Beach for the first time? It's like I would, the year prior, hopefully measure the exact length of each stretch of the course and like try to replicate that as much as possible. A gigantic skid pad, if I could be so bold as to find one. But I mean, I imagine almost every major city will have a large track with a skid pad or parking lot. The hard part would be, of course, convincing them to let you use that long, large piece of track, because Long Beach is, of course, takes up a very large footprint for a track. Probably second most only to Texas, or no, St. Louis is huge too now. I don't know, but either way, it's a lot of track to mimic. But I don't know. What's your plan? Are you doing simulator, or both? This is for both of you. Are you doing like simulator, or are you just gonna raw dog it? How are you gonna do it?
Yeah, I've been out basically. Well, last weekend I was actually sick, so I'm just getting over a cold right now. But other than that, I've been out to every practice day in at our local track at Evergreen Speedway. So just a matter of driving consistently. It's the first year I've actually been able to have a practice car together and ready to go drive. So it's just too much money, obviously, driving like the pro cars. But yeah, to have that, it's just an LQ9, so simple V8, basically an LS motor, 6-liter S13 coupe practice car. So Brandon and I both go out and drive that thing. Like I say, he keeps it down at his place. So like the deal is that it's my car, but it stays down by the track. He's, I don't know, how far are you, Brandon? Like 15, 20 minutes from the track?
Maybe 20 minutes max from Evergreen Speedway.
Yeah, and I'm like 3 hours north. So keeping the car there makes it super simple. So I just shoot down and we hang out, do a little car prep, and go drive. So I think that's the main thing for staying sharp. Obviously, once we kind of get our tire deal locked down for Pro 1 this season, then we're going to get out and do some testing with the main cars at Evergreen. So
yeah, I mean, does it concern you? Because that's my biggest concern with going into Long Beach as a new driver would be not seeing the exit of a corner. I mean, are you prepared for that?
I've been there a few times. So I actually worked with ASD and Vaughn's team in, I think it was 2012. So it was nice to actually get like a little bit of a leg up on. I knew I wanted to be in FD. You know, it was like one of those long dreams kind of thing. Like had that goal for a long time. So what better way to kind of figure out how it all works and be there and surround myself with it than working for another team. So I kind of spent a little bit of time doing that. So I have been there with ASD, and I think that helps a lot. And then also just a couple other years just to watch, spectate. So I feel like I really know what it looks like at least.
Hold on, real quick, sorry to interrupt. Brian, can you go back to that video clip that you just did at Irwindale? At the very end of the clip of the Irwindale one that you just played, there's like the videographer there like sneezes at the very end and like tilts his camera down, or he gets scared by your car, or maybe a tire chunk hit him in the eye. But it was hilarious. He's like following you, and then all of a sudden, like,
bails out. Yeah,
he bails out. Like,
I mean, for a lot of people who never been like very close to the fans, like if you're not expecting it, like these cars are they're bringing in a lot of wind, like it pushes you, you know, like
it's that being at that fence for the years I did media, even wearing earplugs there, I definitely have permanent hearing loss. I'm not even saying it as a joke. It is not a good thing, but like it is so loud that just basic earplugs will not protect you. 2, the smoke just sits there and doesn't go away. And 3, everything you own gets covered in
multiple brand tires.
Yeah, multiple brand tires. And 4, let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. Like I'm actually not as nervous about it as I would kind of anticipate I would be a couple years ago. I've hit enough walls now. Like, luckily I haven't crashed the car a whole bunch, but like I've banged off all the walls I can find basically, and I'm quite used to that, and I know how the car feels, and like the car isn't changing a drastic amount. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like I'm actually ready to go drive that track. So
yeah, well, I think you are very well prepared to go into Pro 2 with a car that's familiar. Unlike some people that we talked to recently, going into it with a new car.
Oh, he's a good driver, though. He's got it. No big deal.
I know he's going to be great. It's got to be tough on the little guy.
He'll do well.
Have a couple super chat.
Yeah, let's do super chats.
Have a couple super chat questions. One more from Frank J. Mirabelli.
Yeah, he seems to have something for Brody. I'm not sure what his problem with Brody is, but do you want to read it, Paco?
Yeah, it says Brody sucks at karting.
No, he didn't say that. He said it's Brody suck at karting.
Oh, Brody suck at karting. Is why he in drifting now.
He's speaking Paco.
I don't know why he's talking like that. I know this gentleman. He speaks proper English.
Yeah, he's trying to speak Paco English. Maybe he was trying to make it sound like it was Paco being rude to him.
Yeah, come on, Paco.
Yeah, come on, Paco, you big old jerk. Why are you saying that Brody sucks at karting?
Look at that. Which one of that is you?
I grew up on a dirt bike, and then I sold the dirt bike when I was like 12 years old. I twisted my dad's arm enough to actually to get me a go-kart. So it was one of those things I always wanted to do, and raced go-karts pretty heavily until 2017, 16 or 17. So I was 16 or 17 years old. when I actually got my first drift car. It wasn't really meant to be a drift car. It was a 240, and I actually wanted to kind of figure out how to be a better road racer. So I had to make that switch to go-karts into sports cars, and I felt that if I got a 240, I could like at least learn like the chassis dynamics and how suspension worked and throwing around a bunch of weight. And like the best way to do that would be just to buy a cheap 240. So I swapped actually an RB20 in that car with my friend actually from school, Axel. And his name's Axel. But so swapped in an RB20 and went playing around with that car and had like no actual, no real thoughts on like going to be a drifter, but just learning, right? So we actually went into a competition for the first time ever actually driving the car. So actually did really well, and it was like so much fun. And it kind of was on like the back burner for a little while, and it was like, damn, like that was pretty cool, but I was still pretty focused on like the road racing and like normal racing. So yeah, it was one of those things that it kind of came back to it in 2012, and realized that was where the future for me would be, and that was everything I actually wanted to do. So it was way more fun. It was everything that you always want to do in a race car. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it. And there's way more people watching it, and it just seems like a lot more viable sport. And like, I think the coolest part about the whole drifting thing is that the guy with a lower budget or a lesser car can overcome the driver with a ton of dough and the huge team and all the backing, right? So in karting,
to some degree, I wouldn't say that that's an absolute. In certain cases, there are ways to be outclassed.
But it's possible.
Definitely. Yeah, there's times in the track, like I think it was it Matt Field and Daigo many years ago, and I'm sure that there's many more recent examples than that. But yeah, there's always underdog mentality, and as long as y'all are limited by the amount of power you can make with the tires are the way they are for 2 runs. I really botched that saying. That sounded like Paco. But as long as you need to make 2 runs out of tires, you can only make so much power on these cars, and now you guys will be in that power level. And I think with the right setup and the right attitude and reliability and luck, you guys can take out anyone.
Yeah, so I think that was like a big lure to drifting to me, is because I was so frustrated in karting. I raced in a series called the Snap-on Stars of Karting series, so it was like the highest level of karting in North America at the time. So the thing that drove me nuts is all those guys with like the crazy motor budgets and everything, and everyone at like the high level can drive, and then the difference is who ended up having like the extra half a horsepower or something, and to a degree, right? Like you could be competitive, you could do well, but you could never win unless you had absolutely everything perfect. And that was one of those things that just took so much money, and that was the frustrating bit, right? So I think that not being spec racing, so spec as in like the engine is tightly, like you have to have this certain thing, this and this and this, but then people spend so much money to try to find like any little loophole or any little bit extra power or part matching on dynos. Like I even did some spec racing in SCCA for a while too. So that kind of turned into that, is like that spec racing turns into being more expensive just because like the extent that people have to go to try to make their car better than anybody else's is so far, right? So whereas drifting is like open rule book, basically, as far as engine goes, you can do anything you want. That was pretty cool. So you can kind of build the best mousetrap that you can, right?
Yeah, I imagine in those, ultra tight spec series, everyone's looking for a loophole to not cheat necessarily, but push the rules, or there is actual cheating, or just everyone is trying to do something to get ahead. And I guess in drifting, there is some degree of that. There is new methods constantly being developed for being better and faster in unconventional ways, but most of them aren't cheating, I hope.
Yep.
There's also
whose cell phone's going off? Someone's got
all the notifications going off.
It's
It's
the popular one.
Which one's the popular one?
It's Bobby Goble.
Bobby Goble?
Gobble.
Brandon, I saw you doing a hang loose sign to someone a second ago from your car seat over there.
Oh, somebody was trying to say what's up. He's a guy actually that drifts out locally in Evergreen Drifts Pro-Am series as well. So.
Nice, dude. What's with the PNW drift scene? It seems like so many drivers in general, but so many skilled drivers are coming from up there. Is it just all the rain driving? Is it what's the deal with all you drifters?
I think we have a really good selection of local tracks up here. You know, you have Pat's Acres down there in Portland. You have Spirit Peaks, which is a new track that's opened up in the last few years.
Sounds
it's a
pretty
fun
spooky.
place. Yeah, it's a little spooky. Beautiful view,
ghosts.
though. I've never been there, but it looks like fun. It's kind of Ebisu styled, hot lapping all day. You know, track doesn't ever go cold. You have Evergreen, obviously. You have a couple tracks up where Brody's at in Canada. We have the Takeover Northwest event at ORP. So that's Oregon Raceway Park, which is like a big 2-mile road course that you can drive and drift the whole thing. And there's, you know, Spokane Raceway. There's a ton of, I think, opportunities to go drive. I mean, you can normally find a drift event within 4 hours of yourself on any given weekend, especially during, you know, the spring, summer, and fall. So, you know, I know we have a solid number of Formula Drift drivers that came in from down in the Portland, Vancouver area with some of those guys. Then you have, you know, I think Van Kirk and I used to live a mile away from each other.
Yeah.
So there's 2 right there. And, you know, you have Hughes and Reeder and Brody and, you know, Fournier back when he drove. And, you know,
is Chelsea, I know Chelsea lives there now, but is Chelsea native?
I don't know, honestly. I've never really talked to Chelsea enough to know if he is or not, but he's in Portland now. Yeah. So I don't know what it is up here. I mean, but it seems to churn out a good number of drivers here in the last 3 or 4 years, and previously to that, you know.
Yeah. And we have another super chat from Crispy Drift Space ! And his super chat was in Canadian dollars, so I'm gonna guess this is for Brody, but I don't know. He says, will you have more wheels this year, Brody? He also says Brody at the end. That could have given it away.
Yeah.
Good job, Sam. Good job.
Fixie's still a partner of ours, and they're doing more wheels this year. So pretty cool story, actually. So Chris, he's from Ontario. I actually didn't even know him last year at all. So he reached out to me on Instagram, and he said, hey, you need a hand in Irwindale. And he's like, I'll cover all my expenses, blah, blah, blah. Never met him, ever. And I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll put you to work, like, for sure. Yeah. And I never really thought, like, who flies all the way from Ontario, never met me before, never did anything with me. I just talked to him a couple times on Instagram. And he flew up, showed up, and he was literally hustling wheels back and forth to Achilles and busting his ass for us, just completely on a whim. He had never been to California. So he's like, I'm here, like, let's do it. So we went and grabbed him, and then he's been a part of the team ever since. So awesome. Super cool for him to basically just out on a whim and just fly.
Did you show up to FD with only 6 wheels last year, or what?
We had 2 fronts and 6 rears. So
that's not enough. How much you need for Pro 2? What's the right amount of sets for rears for Pro 2?
68.
I would say a minimum 10 rears to be comfy, and then 2 fronts and a spare front, so 3 fronts.
3 sets or 3 tires?
3 total.
3 total. I was joking.
Yeah. But. Just for the front wheels, just so you have a spare. Like, we don't have to swap out front wheels on the weekend. So.
Yeah, but what if you get into a awful wreck and you want to get back out?
Then you would have 1 spare, and hopefully you didn't break both front wheels.
I'm gonna just. Even though I've never driven Pro 2, I'm going to say guys have 2 spares for the front.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
If you break both front wheels in a
yeah, you're in a bad place.
Your weekend's probably done.
But let's say that you bust one in practice, and then you bust another in competition, and then you can't continue. Because you've literally only brought 1 wheel.
No, this is where the team aspect comes in, because I got extra wheels too.
There you go.
Guys, you're blowing my mind here.
Yeah.
Blowing my mind.
But are they different sizes than his?
We actually keep almost the identical sized wheel.
That's good thinking.
So, like, worst case scenario, I actually bring old wheels that aren't fixie wheels. So worst case, if I like really got in a big wreck, I would just have to run old off-brand wheels. So
yeah, some stock S14 wheels.
No.
No. 4 lugs, just do a quick hub conversion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What's your favorite aspect about your cars, both of you? What's the thing that gets you boned up? Is it, do you have a weird little thing?
So easy for me.
Yeah, what you got?
It's the motor. That's it. It's the greatest thing ever. I'd run it to $9,000 and it just sings every single time.
And I forget, did you say you have a Mast as well, or which one did you have?
I have that's my title sponsor, Mass Motorsports from Nacogdoches, Texas. Same guys that do Randall Waters engines, Kristaps Blue.
Kristaps, dude, the best LS on earth. I was on Smoking Tire podcast last week, and just got on the topic of LS versus JZ as we're talking about constant drift boy arguments. And I said, LS is not my favorite until you get to the Kristaps level. And hearing his 9,000 RPM LS go around the track is, I think, my favorite sound in FD right now.
So his E46 that he had, we run the pretty much identical engine to it. Really, really close similarities, only a few different things. And the boys down there do a great job. We send it there every winter, and that thing just takes it. And $9,000 all day, and people look at me like I'm crazy every time we go to an FD event, and they're like, "You're gonna blow that thing up? What are you doing?" And it loves it. It honestly loves it.
Yeah. It's kind of goes beyond an LS at that point. It's
its own little world.
Yeah. And what about you, Brody?
Yeah, it's gotta be the supercharger. It's got crazy amount of torque, so just kind of like roll into it pretty well anywhere, and the thing lights up. So it takes the whole motor thing out of the equation. It's just the power wherever you want it, and it still sounds badass. So I like the supercharger and the fact that it doesn't quiet the car down. Like if you have turbos on the car, really chops up the exhaust sound. You don't really hear it, but the thing still sounds rowdy. Still screams a bit. Not quite like Brandon's, but I think we could be revving it as high as Brandon's now, but we'll keep. So the blower loses a little bit of efficiency past 75 RPM anyways, but we make a little over 1,000 at the wheel.
Well, I think Brandon might be Team RTR, and Kristaps might be like the only NA dudes. I'm trying to think of any other NA guys that are gonna be in Pro 1. So you're definitely not in the minority, unlike those guys running a charged motor.
Yeah.
Does Kristaps run nitrous, Paco? Do you know? Anyone, I guess, can answer that.
I think he drinks nitrous in the morning.
He drinks a nitrous and a box of white wine Franzia. But...
I got a funny Kristaps story. We were in in St. Louis or something, and it must have been super early in the morning. And I woke up for some reason. I was up. I went down to get breakfast, and he's sitting there so peacefully, quietly watching morning news with his suit hanging in the middle of the entire room. With the whole little cafeteria cafe area down there, it's just hanging, and he's just so peaceful. And just come down and sit down next to him, and he just looks like he's normal for a minute, because you see him in that car, he's a totally different man.
Yeah, he's a very special driver. One of my favorite. Easily my favorite. Yeah, easily your favorite. Hell yeah,
easily.
Does he know that? Do you have like a bromance going on? Have you talked to him? Were you afraid to talk to him that day in the lobby, or were you just admiring him from afar?
The first day I met him was in Orlando, and I showed up with a mask shirt that was new that he didn't have yet, and in his scariest Russian voice, "Where did you get that shirt?"
No, man, don't ever call him a Russian. He's
Latvian voice,
yeah. I one day I tried to I was just gonna say hello. Oh, hello, Kristaps, and I tried to hug him. He doesn't talk to me anymore.
No, Paco doesn't have any arms either.
No, I shook his hand, and I think it's never been the same since for mine.
Was that your shifting hand, right?
Yeah, it hurt all weekend.
And then Brody, who's your favorite drifter, or one who you look up to most? Could be in the sport now or out of the sport or whatever.
He's gonna say himself.
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Do you guys always have this much tension before the season even starts? God.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, driver wise, Chelsea is obviously the dude to watch there. Car wise, Kristaps. I think if us to drive any car, it'd be either the RTR Mustangs or Kristaps' car. But yeah, definitely those two dudes for sure.
Driver personality wise, Chelsea, Kristaps.
For sure.
Up to in the sport these days.
It would be a given if you said James Dean or Peter, but
those guys get enough stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, Chelsea's fun to watch. So, and that's kind of what I try to be too. So, like to not play the safe route, I guess, and be a little bit fun. So,
I think that Brandon was channeling 2017 Chelsea in his 100-point attempt at Atlanta. That was Chelsea's first year on Team RTR. He was going turning it up to 11 every single event. I think we talked about it later on, and he said it was mostly due to him trying to like mimic Vaughn's car setup, and it just wasn't for him. He had to really tune that Mustang to be his own personal setup, and then he started succeeding. And in this, was it last year? He was better than Vaughn points wise, I believe.
Yeah, he was definitely always there. So I don't know what the points broke down, but obviously Vaughn ended up
Chelsea
last one, but
Chelsea was
Lewis. So yeah.
Me and that hill in Atlanta, we don't get along. I've tried backies, I've tried regular entries.
Well, usually regular in competition is what's going to do well. So I'd recommend sticking with that for comp. Have you guys? I forget. Have you driven at Grid Life before?
No.
Definitely need to get in on that because not only is it awesome, I'm being like I guess you could say paid shill because we do announcing there, but we're not paid regularly. We're not advertised.
We're not.
Life,
we are not on the monthly.
They don't pay us for this free promo, but it really is the best events around. Different than FD. You can't say that it's
there's
FD, but
we have
the fact that you can hot lap at Road Atlanta literally until you run out of tires, or is what like 12, 15 to 30 minute sessions throughout the weekend. So there's almost unlimited hot laps at Atlanta if your car doesn't break, and almost everyone's car is broken by the end.
Sounds expensive.
Well, I mean, if you got a good tire sponsor and you guys share the S13, I think it's S13, the practice car bitch.
Yeah,
the shit rocket.
The shit rocket.
That's what it's called. Yeah, it's a good car. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying
to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to build a car right now. I have a Sylvia S14 shell, and we're putting it together, and then that'll be another Brody and I share car.
Yeah.
I like how instead of just each of you can finally have your own car, like, no, we'll share them both.
It's a share car.
We're way too nice. Yeah. It's my Canadian stuff rubbing off on him, right? So
it really is. You know, he brings everybody in our crew, and everybody all get along so well. And after a little while, I actually have people that come with me, and like now most of them are Canadian also. And I'm like, man, I feel like it's surrounded. Besides my dad and I, and our daughter, everybody's Canadian.
Yeah.
That sounds like you're surrounded by a bunch of assholes. Those Canadians, known for their tempers.
I saw a comment. Somebody asked poutine or carne asada fries, and I'm gonna say carne asada fries right
Ooh,
now.
Okay.
I was gonna say this is
I like it all. Don't get me wrong, but
it's a very controversial question. I agree.
But could also go California style and do In-N-Out animal style fries.
Ooh.
Is that in there or what?
I don't know. I just saw the one of the two. I feel like that needed to be answered for scientific purposes.
Yeah, I mean, Paco, what's your call on that?
No, I was gonna say that first of all, I'm gonna call party foul because you're not supposed to go into the Instagram questions just yet, bro.
No. Is that an Instagram question?
I don't know where it was, but I saw it.
Well, it's okay because
that's for the shipping quote, Paco.
Oh damn.
Hey, I mean, I have to delegate. If I had to do everything, I probably wouldn't be here.
Paco or Brian also just went into Maximum Driftcast and made an extra special post saying Brandon Schmidt's on the show. Do you have any questions? But it was only 15 minutes ago, so Brandon only has about 5 questions right now. But don't worry, we'll get you up there. So I have a feeling that we might have some last minute entries here from some people whose screen names are definitely real. Paco, do you have any more questions for these boys before?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's hear it.
Let's see. Actually, there's a question for Brandon Schmidt from username Ben Tranter. How expensive and difficult is to upkeep / maintenance on that masked V8 setup?
Okay, so that's actually a pretty good question, and it has a pretty simple answer. Maintenance on it's super simple. We don't have to check any valve adjustment or anything like that. Actually, we run a Hall ECU in it, and we data log pretty much everything from every event. We work directly with MASS and our engine builders at MASS to basically have a good grade of everything of, obviously, this is where we shouldn't be with certain, things we can get off our computer, and this is where we should be. And we run Lucas oil, 2050 full synthetic race oil in it, and we've never had a problem. So, I mean, realistically, it sounds like a really simple, easy answer, but it's just, we change the oil in it. We don't even crack the valve covers off the thing. It just all year. We keep it fed on oil. We make sure it doesn't get over its temperatures, and we check every data log for every practice and qualifying, and we've never had anything bad come back. So it's easy. Like I said, we send it back every winter. They go through it. They tell us anything that maybe was an issue, maybe we should improve on, and it's a lot of R&D with them. So it's a wonderful relationship that we have with those guys, that they're able to take the engine and improve on everything, so that, if we maybe had one little area where maybe we saw things were going bad on it, maybe, hey, we should change this. Okay, we do it, boom, and it's, like this last year wasn't an issue. So really nothing.
That's, it's I would say testament. Testicles for reliability.
Testicle money.
It's totally amazing. I see a lot of people that, pop V8s a lot and high horsepower V8s, and I always send them that direction because, especially with Brody now running a mast engine, it's just, it eliminates a lot of your issues, and I couldn't say anything better about that thing. That thing takes everything we throw at it and more.
Yeah, I literally watched Brandon run all 2017, and that was a big reason why I switched over, because he's not exactly easy on the car, so he likes.
And you're impressed that his motor didn't pop, and
yeah, like 8,500 RPM, so it's pretty impressive. So actually, I switched over to a solid lifter setup on my motor as well, because I couldn't believe they didn't even have to adjust it or anything. So, and yeah, mine's been rock solid. I've actually looked at the lifters, and they just don't need to. They don't go of adjustment. So it's not like the old days where everyone's doing lifter adjust every day on the old V8s, right? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, through all of 2017 and pretty much 2018, we didn't even crack a seal on that engine or take a peek at it. We just checked our logs, everything was good, and
barely breaking in.
Did you change the oil?
We did change the oil. We were very religious about changing the oil, but the best thing I ever heard from Mast was fill it up with oil and have fun.
Nice. This is a very important question from Macho Man Randy Sanchez. I don't think I've seen that name around the podcast before, but good luck with the question, Macho. This is for both of you. Would you rather chop off your own pinky toe or someone else's entire foot?
Oh, jeez. I gotta say my own pinky toe. That's just brutal. Somebody losing a whole foot.
That's very selfless of you.
God,
it's gonna get a big.
I don't want to lose a
Yeah.
pinky toe.
Yeah, not to mention pinkies are useless.
And now, what was the other answer there?
The what?
I know what I feel like I should say. I feel like I'm going to say someone to lose their whole foot.
All right, so your partner in crime here is going to be selfless. What's your plan?
I guess I'll take the pinky toe. I'll take one for the team.
No. Macho Man, what Macho Man didn't say is that...
He didn't ask for honesty. He just asked.
What the Macho Man didn't say is that it was Brody's foot that you'd have to cut off.
Oh, shit.
So is that more of an incentive, or is that more...
That makes it better.
Yeah.
If I can pick, then definitely someone's foot.
Yeah. Yeah, whose foot would it be?
We can't say that on the podcast.
Yeah, you can. That's what we do here.
No, we can't.
I would chop off someone's foot.
Whose foot?
Who already had their foot crushed and was going to have it amputated, and it was going to go anyways. Yeah. It would just be fun for me. Like, if it's like, oh, this foot's ruined. This is a garbage foot. We're going to throw this foot in the trash.
Did you find enjoyment in that?
Yeah.
It's not only fun. It's an altruistic thing. You're helping this person not die from gangrene.
First of all, ain't no one touching my pinky toe. Second of all, there's a lot of feet out there that I don't like. Right? Stephanie, my girlfriend, tried to give me a pedicure the other night. Made it 7 seconds into it before I kicked her in the face. Don't touch my foot, dog. It was an accident. I didn't mean to. But
no longer your girlfriend?
No, she likes it.
So back to Instagram.
Yeah, I guess.
Question for Brandon Schmidt as well, from Max Frolic. Will Orion be helping / joining you?
Joining.
No.
Spanish.
That's easy. No, he does his own thing. I do my own thing. We're definitely friends. I helped him out while he was up here and doing the Evergreen Drift Pro-Am series, and he got his Pro 2 license. But there's not a lot of conflicting rounds, but he definitely has the means and the foundation to run his own program, and I definitely have obviously my own, and we definitely cheer for each other, and we're definitely each other's probably big fan, but that's kind of just where it stays.
This for people who don't know this, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Danovich or Dinovich, yeah.
I've got a great question here from Swervin Irvin, and this one's for Brody. How do I stop calling you Brody Goble?
I can think of worse nicknames, so I just got to go with it. If however people remember the name, it's better than not remembering the name, right? So,
but could you answer his question?
That's a tough one. I guess I don't know if he reads from right to left. That's going to be tricky. It's a tough disease. So,
so looks like he can't help you, Swervin. Sorry.
I'm sure there might be some sort of medication out there for dyslexia. So.
I bet if we chopped off his foot, he would always remember.
There you go.
To pronounce your name
or
correctly.
maybe his big toe and his little toe.
Oh,
and then flip.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
He gets a nice tattoo of your name on him. Maybe your
Yeah,
signature.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Swervin Irvin, you hear that?
Gotta be
you can get a
face
tattoo.
when he looks at it.
Yeah.
Then it could get mixed up again if it wasn't.
All right, and this is a good one from Tony Salads.
Oh yeah, good old Tony Salads. Yeah.
Underscore 69420. He says, "Can you guys give me a review real quick of the hit movie Weekend at Bernie's?"
Oh man,
I'm a 90s kid.
So that means you haven't seen Weekend at Bernie's?
No.
All right,
We're missing out.
Brennan?
You guys,
I saw it I'm a 90s kid as well. I was born, and I
Can you
remember
explain the
watching
movie
it
to me?
as a really young kid. All I know is Bernie's dead. All right, that's all I know. And they have a great party with him.
that's
Yep.
pretty
That
much
seems
all
like
you
a
need
great
to know.
review of the movie.
Not a great review. 10 out of 10. 100%
Yeah,
rotten.
you're welcome.
Recommend
All right, Dookie. Dookie was the one earlier saying he was upset that he was promised a Weekend at Bernie's review from I think that was Christmas time. So I'm glad that he stayed on that. Unless we
Get
brought it back
to me.
up.
In a couple months, I'll have a full documentary review for you.
It's pretty much worth it to see it. That's my review. You might not hate your time.
I have a question from Kano Asada. What will be the major changes for your cars for the 2019 season in regards to weight distribution, suspension mods, and power?
Yeah, what are the major changes?
And good luck.
Who wants to go first? You want to take it away, Brandon?
Wow, this is going to be short-lived. Nothing. I guess we're obviously gonna jump up in tire size.
Yeah, you have to add weight.
Yeah, we make no. Actually, I run a pretty heavy S13 already. My dad, he's kind of the master fabricator man. Everything, he's really in charge of that, and he was always convinced on the smaller tire that more weight in certain areas would help us. Obviously, I think we had a pretty fast car on the limited tire size.
I mean, that's an interesting strategy for Pro 2, to be honest with you, from what I've seen.
It was totally wild, but at the end of the day, the car I thought was pretty quick. I never really had too much.
Well, it's preparing you better for Pro 1 for sure, because
Yeah, so basically our car actually weighs enough to run a 275 tire right now. So we're gonna run that. Brody actually is helping me out with adding a rear sway bar setup to the car because that's something I have never had. Other than that, probably dial in the Fortunato coilovers just a little grippier, and I'll try to keep it out of walls.
That seems like a pretty solid strat.
Solid.
Yeah, I mean, for my car, we've been playing with it and trying to set it up for Pro 1 since day one. So not a whole bunch is changing there. Obviously, just the way that the car's set up as well. So I'm going to be probably taking out a little bit of side bite with the rear sway bar, and yeah, it's just kind of minor changes for each track. So power stays the same, everything on the car stays the same, and that's kind of the whole game plan with building this car in the first place, is that we are building a Pro 1 car and then adapting it for Pro 2. So yeah, everything stays the same. So that's kind of exciting for us. So
nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that is kind of interesting, though, that you guys are, usually people take huge leaps in car. Or I don't know, usually it hasn't been that many drivers, of course, that have gone through Pro 2 and then all the way into Pro. I wonder how.
To just drive a whole new car altogether too. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I'm curious
That's
to
for
see.
you, Dylan.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
To see what tire sizes are you guys planning on running?
Yeah, it's
Well,
gonna be either a 275/40 or maybe a 285/35.
Yeah, I have a struggle fitting the 285, and I like to drive the car a little looser as well. So I'll probably stick right there at the 275 personally.
What was the Pro 2 max tire size? I forget off the top of my head.
255.
So you have a good amount of tire added there. So driving
Yeah,
will
those
change.
are certified pizza cutters now.
Fronts only.
Fronts only.
Are you guys doing like a full take the whole car apart, clean everything, refresh it, put it all back together, or just kind of like it was running
wing it.
fine?
Run it. Who's gonna run it?
Well, I had my car completely apart only 4 races ago in between last year. So it's got four races on it essentially. So half a Pro 1 season right now. And just, transmissions out, kind of go through everything that way, but not pulling it right down to nothing. So it's been apart and back together too many times. And it was a brand new car. We basically took the shell right down to nothing and powder coat and everything for that 2017 season. So it technically only has 8 events on it in its lifetime. So it's not too bad.
I like the idea that you could also just Matt Powers and street drive your car to Irwindale or whatever event.
He's a legend too.
He is.
That guy's a legend. God. Beautiful.
A legend who we've, despite working with him and who I'd consider an actual friend in real life, refuses to come on the show for no reason other than just doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Because he's Matt Powers and he just likes, I think he's a professional boogie boarder.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. He also calls me a Zony because I'm from Arizona, and that makes me upset in some weird way. I don't know why, but that's a bummer.
I got a good question for Paco. When are we going to see the 2F Performance Aztec Pontiac, please?
Good question.
'Cause I see the E46 and I want the Aztec now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm growing in
did somebody
And
did somebody
will the tent still work with the kit?
There's huge demand for.
Yeah. I mean, did somebody give you a tip or something? Like, how did you know about this?
I could feel it in you, man. I could feel you're an Aztec man and you needed to doof it out.
There's a huge crossover between the drift community and Pontiac Aztec owners. So
that's Brody and I's big 2020 plans we haven't revealed yet. Is that we'll be doing a dual Pontiac Aztec drift.
That's a good idea. I'd say drift team and flat tow your car with a Pontiac Aztec to the track.
Yes. On a U-Haul.
Everybody, I mean, pretty much everybody knows what a performer the Aztec is. There's the way that, from factory is probably,
on the streets and in the sheets.
Yeah, pretty much,
Faco fucks his car is what we're trying to say.
Excuse me. Make love.
A lot too.
I turned this whole conversation south single-handedly.
Usually that's my job. All right, we got one more question. This is Super Chat, unless you guys have more Super Chat questions, from FJM9898. Once again, FJM, if you have any money left, man, take it easy. Guys, going to make a return to TakeOver this year. I think that's like Passover for Canadians.
That's in the U.S. It's in Oregon.
Yeah, that's the
event. So that's our mini grid life. So they have like full-on concerts. It's full course at ORP, Oregon Raceway Park. So full course drifting. So yeah, we'll be there.
All right.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah,
we'll be waiting.
The real question for everybody attending is, will the shit rocket make an appearance or not? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
If it works.
Yeah, if it works.
We'll be.
When is that? Where is that? Like what city?
I believe that is. Take a look on my phone. God, we're so unprepared, aren't we?
I think it's in July, isn't it?
July or June?
Or after
that is about an hour east of Portland.
Sick. Just in the farmlands. I've never been anywhere east of Portland. I've only been west of Portland.
I haven't really been either, but it's not too far of a drive. I think it's only about 3.5 to 5 hours. That's a big estimate, isn't it?
FJM is saying June W 21st.
There you go. That's
And
the
also,
one.
Andrew Stewart in the YouTube chat is also asking a question that I forgot to ask. What's your livery plan for 2019? Are you guys doing the same livery or like the similar livery? Are you going Wort House where it's like the same thing but a little bit different, or just your own direction, or identical? So it's going to be really confusing for everyone watching you.
You should ask him. Yeah, we leave that up to Andrew. So
see,
it's that AWS.
That is Andrew. He's the livery man.
Yeah. So Brody and I, originally had the red cars, and then the great Jared Deanda made a joke on the air about too many red S13s, so I painted my car black, and I really loved it. And then every time I had pictures or I was on live stream on Formula Drift, it was almost invisible.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to do. I also like black drift cars to some degree, but in pro level, you gotta kind of stand out a little bit more.
We made the wonderful decision with my paint guy and actually AWS Graphics just probably 2 days ago that we're gonna paint the bottom half of the car red again and do the black roof. So
fuck you, Jared.
Yes, that's for you, Jared. So we'll be twinning again. The livery designs are probably going to share some similarities, but mine is going to have a twist for sure. So you guys will just have to wait and see. But they won't be identical, but you'll definitely know we're a team. Same color schemes and things like that.
Nice.
Unless I get a title sponsor on board that wants to paint it any other color they want.
That too. That's open.
Yeah.
If suddenly
we can do it.
If suddenly Falcon or one of those guys wants you, Monster, Red Bull comes in, they're like, hey,
big rumor mill.
You want to, yeah, all three are going to be coming on. And look, we know that you want to put a giant dick on your hood to differentiate yourself from Brody, but we're going to have to veto that.
That's unfortunate.
that was
Andrew. It's not happening.
That was the special touch you were talking about, right?
Dreams shattered.
You guys figured me out.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I would go for. Paco, any other questions?
Actually,
the Trojan powered F13 is not going to be making its appearance anymore.
Yeah.
There's sorry, Sam?
I didn't hear the last thing that Brandon said. He said Froyo power?
It's unfortunate that we're not going to be able to debut the Trojan condom brand.
No, the Trojan condom. That's what I'm talking about, man. We got to get those new sponsors in here.
I want it. I really do.
Look, it's not even a dick if you just have like a fully erect, huge Magnum condom on the car.
One giant gold wrapper will be the whole car.
That's a good idea.
Magnum.
Oh, that's not bad. Think about
That's a very good idea.
Great.
Or
now
maybe
someone's going to take my idea. It's over now.
Maybe just a full gold car, and
Would that mean we'd have to drive a Dodge Magnum?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Just because everyone that uses Magnum condoms also drive Dodge Magnums. That's just how it goes.
The wagon is like it's just showing you like the manliness of this person.
Well, you can't own a car without also owning and utilizing the product name.
Yeah.
Thus, I had the Ford Probe.
So we know what you've been doing.
Paco, let's see.
Yeah. So this is a question. I mean, I think it was for Brandon, but I think he's asking to the four of us. Okay. This is a question from Konstantinov Nikolai. Why are you so handsome, and what hair products do you use? So I think it's for the four of us. Let's start
the group effort.
Let's start with Brandon.
Brandon, why are you so handsome?
Why am I so handsome? That's a great question. Ask mom and dad. They'll give you the answer for it.
Mom and dad porked 29 years ago. Pork softly. Out popped little B.
If I tell you the most hilarious part of my birthday, it's exactly 9 months after my mom's birthday. So you do the math.
Ooh, mom got physical.
Just drop that on the podcast. Sorry, mom.
Yeah. Welcome, mom. Mom, if you're listening, congratulations.
I take great pride in the hair. Most of the time, it gets ruined by the helmet, but I use it's called like an Australian cream paste. It's real fancy. It's fluffy, wonderful. Next event, I'll show it to you guys. You guys can have a little test sample.
Okay, yeah, I'm down for that. I need more hair though. I'm kind of like starting to lack on that top area.
What about you, Brody? What's your hair care products for the world?
The secret of mine is the Axe. It's I don't know what it's called, but it's made by Axe, but it's not
Axe
grease.
body spray.
It's Axe. Yeah, but
he
it's
sprays the body spray in his head.
No grease, so it's no residue. It's real nice, real slick.
All right, that sounds pretty basic, but whatever, man.
Brody and I we hit a pretty good level of friendship. I'm surprised we don't share body and hair products anymore.
Well, I've been to his
And
place.
bodies.
He leaves his underwear in my bathroom and doesn't tell me, so we're pretty good friends.
I mean, there's a lot of innuendo to be made from that, guys.
That's gonna go south too.
All right. Well, I think that we should.
Well, Sam, I think
down.
this question was for all of us.
Oh. So what I do is I use what's called in many circles as semen, and it's good for you. It smells nice at the end of the day, and it really gets you that hold that not a lot of other products provide.
Makes your hair very crispy.
Yeah, I actually don't know the name of the stuff I use. It's some red pomade thing that I forgot about. It's in the bathroom. I don't have time to go there. It's too far.
Wait, it's
gigantic mansion.
You're not on the Suavecito train?
No, that shit smells too much. It's all very perfumey.
Oh. I mean,
that's not to say that if they want to sponsor the show with a bunch of free hair product, I wouldn't enjoy it. But I bought one and it was very scented.
I'm all about the scented stuff.
You are. I know that, Paco, and that's why we can't stay in the same hotel room together because you smell like a brothel.
Yeah, delicious. I mean, it's not the snoring; it's the
well, it's
the
both,
perfume.
So it's the perfect combo. Before we go, any plugs you boys want to have? Plug your grams, plug your sponsors, plug your gram, your mom, your grandma, whatever, man.
Brody, you have it first.
Yeah, there's a lot. Obviously, first and foremost, Frankenstein Speed and Custom. That's Tommy. He's our master behind the car build and the crew chief at the track. So he puts in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with me on keeping that car on the racetrack. So got to thank him. And then,
how much blood does he put in the car? Is that like the oil, or is that for the windshield wiper fluid?
It's cleaned up, but there is definitely blood that's left over. So for sure. Damn. And then, after that, we've had a bunch of partners that kind of helped us out for a long time. So it's cool to have like the same partners back to back to back. Lucas Oil, DB13, Fortunato, Motorsport, which is a driving company that I work for up here in Canada. So I do driving and instructing.
Brandon is making as much noise as possible over your plugs.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to try to return the favor here in a moment.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then Brown Bros Ford, ASD Motorsports, so Ian Stewart and Bonnie, they've kind of been my mentors. I was actually part of the ASD Mob program in 2012, so that's kind of brought me through the steps and kind of taught me so many invaluable things without me having to blow a whole bunch of money and figure them out the wrong way myself. So that kind of gave me a little bit of an advantage or leg up there. 7 Friday, Mass Motorsports, Finikiel Restorations, they do all our body work. Origin Lab, shouldn't say that out loud, but Origin Lab for the body work. Fixie Wheels, Link ECU. Who else? We got Radium Engineering, Willwood Disc Brakes, Vortex Superchargers, McLeod Clutches, of course. There's so many partners and products on that race car that keep it going. So couldn't do it without all those guys. I'm definitely forgetting some people, but we definitely trying our best to make a good debut in Pro 1 and have a good time.
Awesome. All right, Brandon, you're up. Brody, make the noise.
Just start.
Sorry, it's the piece of shit Ford truck. Yeah, there we go. It's making the lights are shutting off. Yeah. First and foremost, definitely my dad. Without him, I couldn't do it. He's like crew chief, mastermind, main mechanic. Him and I actually have built the entire car besides the fab work and the paint. Just him and I, every wire, everything. Really, I could sit there and talk about it for hours. So without him, I wouldn't go to Formula Drift at all. It's like without the memories Tim and I make, and with Brody, I probably wouldn't even drive at all, to be quite honest. So it's awesome time. So definitely him. Mass Motorsports, Lucas Oil, Fortunato, McLeod Clutches, Grip Royal, Accurate Auto Service, and of course 2F Performance and Cosmos Wheels. So, all those guys, they make it so I can go drive and do this shit and probably beat the living hell out of things and run my motor way too high and have a good weekend and just try to put on a show for everybody. So, without all them, like I said, I wouldn't go racing, and I'm excited to hit this year and see what we can do and mostly just have a good time. That's why we still do this, is just because the memories I get to make between Brody and everybody, it's too much fun. And one last shout out to Shelby and Joe. They're two of my crew people. They they kick ass. They show up, and even when we suck and we break things, they're always there smiling. So
awesome. And just real quick before you guys go, do you have anything about like creating content together? Anything on the that you've been thinking about doing?
Poetry, improv comedy tour, whatever.
Sure. No, we're definitely going to. That's a big goal of ours this year. Obviously, it's more than just the driving. What we can guarantee is the content. So we're going to be bringing along my video guy Dane from Nerd Media. So he's going to be kind of following along and doing the whole aspect of the team and all the content that kind of goes in with that. So it's a little bit of a different program, being that we are a 2-car team. So that's kind of nice to bring it into Pro 1. So yeah, that's going to be a big focus. I got Frank Mirabelli, who works for you guys as well. He's going to be doing the photos for me. So
Frankie,
yeah, boy Frank. And quick shout out to my guys too, Keith Carter and Clay Byer. So they've been there right from the very beginning too. So helping me out. And obviously can't do this stuff without guys that are willing to make the sacrifices, which is hard to find. So
yeah, I saw one of the I think one of the videos that Big Balls was playing from your Instagram earlier was a Nerd Media video, and it looked pretty damn high quality for
he's
everything.
Good, so
careful, Sam.
Awesome.
Keith to eat off. Keith will beat you, so that's a public service announcement for everybody. Keith's
What's
got
up?
everybody. Anybody wants to take Brody's crew guy Keith and try to out-eat him at any Formula Drift event, offers on the table. I'm putting money on it.
Eat Keith. All right, maybe that could be a new program coming from your pits.
So Keith actually bought my old S13 as well. So he was a guy I knew from road racing and worked with him a little bit too. He actually wanted to get into drifting. So Keith bought the old S13, and then we started building this new S14. So he's learning, and he's been doing the Evergreen Pro-Am series and everything too. So he's throwing that thing around the 5/8 spank, and it's his first drift car, so it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
typical of me, I couldn't be outdone. So now my dad has actually a cooler car than me. He has a Sylvia S15, and we have a war. We're trying to get my dad to beat Keith and drive Evergreen Drift Pro-Am, and he's coming along quick. So
your dad's cool as fuck. That's my practical dream car, other than an R32. But
yeah, he's the man.
Damn, Dad. Cool. Well, thank you so much, boys. I can't wait to see you guys at Long Beach, and wish you all the success in your pro debut.
Right on. Be sure to stop by too. So
we
will.
Yeah, thank you guys.
For sure.
Cool.
What are you gonna have for us, though? I mean, what are you gonna offer? You got food. You got edible arrangements. You got pasta. All right.
The drink is stocked. Got the wife on it. She's catering the whole thing. So yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, we're there.
Can't wait.
All right, see you soon. Thank you, boys.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Later.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
And you're gonna have to hang up your own calls, by the way.
Yeah, we can't hang you up. It's a good faith system.
Yeah.
That we're not going to talk trash.
Oh, there you go. And one's out. There's another one. And there you go. All right, now we can talk all the trash we want, Sam.
I don't want it. That ain't me anymore. I'm a new man.
A new man, new year, new man.
New year, No, this ain't my year.
They're good boys.
2019. Nope.
I've heard. I composed a song, specifically thinking of them.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Yes.
It starts with like a ding, 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 ding. Just the good old boys. Never meaning no harm.
Is that an actual song, or are you making this up?
Oh, Sam, you're so young and naive.
I'm sorry that you're singing 1930s doo-wop.
This is actually it was the Dukes of Hazzard.
Doop doo doo doop wop.
Ba 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 bum ba ba.
I thought you were gonna make up some words.
Well, I was going to, but then.
Well, I mean, it's also illegal. We can get sued and our podcast shut down and taken away if you say I made this song and it's not actually the song.
The song brought to you by.
And now both of the Dukes
Waylon
and
Jennings.
their hazards are coming our way.
Oh no. Well, that it was very nice to have a podcast with you, Sam. I mean,
it's been real. Before we thank our people, though, a very nice gentleman by the name of Eric Van Damme. Probably Eric Van Damme. He's a cousin to Jean-Claude Van Damme. He said, "Hello from Japan. I am new to the podcast. I'd like to say thank you. Very informative and liking it. I'm ready to make it move back to America in a couple weeks to compete in Pro-Am. We're keeping the build simple and reliable. Any advice for an up-and-coming Pro-Am driver?" Maybe he wanted to ask Brody and Brandon, but I didn't see it till now. Or maybe you're just asking us. I don't know. Paco, we probably actually can give decent advice to a pro.
I mean, I would like to know which part of America you're coming to, because obviously it's very big. If you happen to be closer to the West Coast, there's more
right
chances.
Now, I would say there's not a lot of rules in Pro-Am that limit horsepower, so you can really just outgun people.
Yeah.
And just overbuild your car, and you can beat most people. So that'll do it. But also make sure your car runs every event. That's really it. And be a better driver. That's a big one.
I mean, yeah, like the best advice, just be better.
Be better
Straight
driver,
up.
have a better car, and be more prepared.
Straight
really,
up.
that goes for all things.
Yeah, I mean, everything in life applies to those set of rules.
If you study super hard for the test, it's almost like cheating.
That's actually, yeah. Oh, he's going to.
Oh, he responded. Indianapolis, but I'll be competing Midwest MDU East 10 drifts.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, there's good competition up there, so I think
if you
definitely.
need body kits, talk to Paco.
Yeah. No, but
if you need your pants ripped, talk to Corey. He just texted me. He said he's still fixing his pants.
It's gonna be a long night, I heard.
Yeah, it's tough. Sorry, Kaylee.
But I mean, in all seriousness, obviously, I think just consistency, make sure the car is reliable. That's gonna be key. That make sure that you don't lose because your car is broken. And just seat time. That's the money right there.
Oh yeah, practice.
Practice a lot of battles with your friends.
I would also say stay hydrated. Exercise.
Always bring a towel.
Hit the gym.
Don't eat too much Taco Bell before the event, but all you want after the event.
Or do, because Taco Bell, the best part about it is you feel super full, but then you have extreme weight reduction.
It's like
pretty
violent evacuation of the food.
Pretty quickly after the fact. All right, let's thank our Patreones.
Los Patreones.
You guys, now that all of our sponsors are gone forever, except for AM Intakes, we love you. We definitely rely on your money to keep the show going. So thank you, Patreon. If you want to give $1 an episode, that's awesome. If you want to give $1,000 an episode, you're just as cool in our books.
You pretty much adopted us as your adopted children.
Yeah, Paco will write you a song of his people.
Yep.
We need to make some new goals on there, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're still doing giveaways. We're still just trying to
giveaways, but I mean, our last goal was Paco did an entire episode in Spanish. Maybe next one will be Corey gets a hair transplant from his butt to his head. I don't know. That's just the first thing that came up to my mind.
Actually, let's leave on the comments on this video. What do you guys want to
goals you'd like to see?
Yeah.
All right, let's shut her down.
Let's shut it down. So thank you, Sam. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, AM Intakes.
Thanks AM Intakes.
Taco Bell for being our silent sponsor all these
always.
years.
Thanks, Corey, for not being here,
Thanks, Corey, for not being here.
This
Thanks,
show pretty.
Brian. Thanks, Paco. And most of all, I'd like to thank. Say with Jesus. No.
All right, let's just finish it.
That's all.
Bye.
Bye. See you next Tuesday.
Goodbye.